Welcome back to the Larson Show. It's a pleasure to be with you. I'll get back to your phone call shortly. Literally, the whole country has been talking about this incident last Friday night, where a man on board a light rail train in Portland decided to stab 3 men who had tried to keep him from harassing 2 young women, one of them wearing a hijab. And apparently he had concluded that she must be Muslim, and he was harassing her. And these 3 men came to her defense, and he stabbed all 3 of them. And then the mayor of Portland announced that he would shut down a free speech rally because one past attendee at one of the rallies was the man, Jeremy Christian, who is now accused of the murders on Friday night. And I wanted to talk about the First Amendment implications of a mayor of a major American city calling for the withdrawal of a permit for a free speech rally because of some tenuous connection between that rally and the man who committed this crime on Friday night. So I've invited Byron Henry on, who's an attorney and a constitutional scholar.
Great to be with you, Lars.
So tell me, I want to play the soundbite for you from the mayor because it's almost unbelievable to me that a mayor who, heck, he went to Columbia, he went to Harvard, he's got advanced degrees, he's supposedly a smart guy, and yet what he had to say about free speech was really pretty stunning. Let me get and this is what Mayor Ted Wheeler had to say over the weekend about the murder and about what he planned to do about trying to get the federal government to withdraw permission for a protest or a rally, I guess I should say, in a public square.
I'm reminded constantly that they have a First Amendment right to speak, but my pushback on that is that hate speech is not protected.
Do you want to comment on that?
Well, certainly. The fact that he's Ivy League educated explains a whole lot of it because hate speech is defined by the left as any speech with which they disagree. So I guess what I have to say in a moment is not going to be protected by the First Amendment, but he is dead wrong. Both liberal and conservative First Amendment scholars will tell you that hate speech, it is in fact protected. In fact, what they're calling hate speech isn't really even hate speech. It's simply speech with which they disagree. For example, it's been called hate speech to say that illegal immigrants should be deported, that homosexuality is a sin. That's all hate speech, according to the left. Unfortunately for them, and fortunately for those that they disagree with, that is protected by the First Amendment fully. And in this case, I'm not even sure he's identified what the hate speech is. This is a free speech rally extolling the virtues of America and the fact that over Memorial Day, where millions have died for the freedoms we all enjoy in this country, first and foremost among those freedoms is the right to speak freely, whether it's something that's hateful or wrong or bigoted or virtuous.
Well, as I understand it, the rally is going to go forward. The federal government is not going to withdraw its permission. And I'm with you. The definition of hate speech, I've been told that to say that women shouldn't have abortion just simply because of their convenience, that's hate speech, that it's hateful to suggest that a woman cannot decide to abort a baby simply because it's getting in the way of her career or school or family or any other reason. And yet, these days, especially with people like this character, because I would agree, this guy said a lot of things that were probably offensive to just about everyone. He seems to hate everyone. He hates Jews, Christians, Muslims, so he sounded to me like a fairly unpleasant person. But I've never suggested that people who say things I disagree with are people who are engaging in hate speech, like the mayor of Portland has.
No, certainly, and of course, saying that Christians or other members of religious faith are bigots, that's hate speech. Calling someone a bigot is hate speech in and of itself. But of course, according to the progressive left, which is a misnomer, but the progressive left, calling a spade is not hate speech if they call us out for being bigots and hateful, and that's unfortunate. And I will tell you that it's been going this way, moving this direction on college campuses first, with the safe spaces, there's a lawsuit that's been filed against one university for not protecting students from bigoted or hateful email, and they're suing the university because the people posting the quote hate speech or the pro-Trump stuff are actually using Wi-Fi provided by the university, and the argument is that they have to cut these people off of the Wi-Fi if they're going to spew hate speech, and that hate speech in quote marks, you can't see me doing it, is anything that's pro Donald Trump, pro conservative agenda, pro-taxpayer, anti-illegal immigration, pro-travel ban that President Trump has proposed. So anytime you discuss any of those hot topics or toxic subjects, it's considered hate speech. And that's very unfortunate because that's not always the way it's been. In fact, going back just even 30 or 40 years, even liberal campuses were replete with opinions ranging from libertarian all the way up to across the spectrum. And it was you didn't always agree with them, and sometimes you disliked the people that had some of these opinions. But whether it was people that were avowed communists or people that were out and out anarchists or libertarians, all those opinions and viewpoints were welcome so long as they weren't accompanied by violence or type of incitement speech, which was basically trying to get people to hurt one another.
The laws in every country, every part of America suggest that if you engage in immediately threatening speech, that's a crime. Usually it's the crime of intimidation. If you're simply engaging in really vigorous, even nasty rhetoric, but it isn't immediately threatening to somebody, that's very well protected. And it seems as though we're giving up a great American tradition, and that is people push back hard when they hear politicians suggest that any kind of free speech ought to be curbed unless it's speech that's actually threatening somebody's life or safety.
Of course, it's the unpopular speech that needs protecting. The current trend doesn't need protecting. What the majority believes, obviously, is protected through the democratic processes and is always well within the ambit of what's acceptable. It's the speech and the opinions on the periphery that need protecting, because those are the ones that are most likely to be shouted down, whether through lawsuits, whether through intimidation or through violence. That's the only speech that needs protecting. It's not the only speech worth protecting. All the speech is worth protecting, but the speech that is in the most need of protection are those who have opinions, whether it be about government or policy or religion. Those opinions that aren't shared by the majority are the ones that needed protection, just like when same-sex marriage and homosexuality was both not in fashion, it was in fact a crime, and same-sex marriage was banned in all 50 states. Those proponents of same-sex marriage 30 years ago had the right to petition and try to get the state governments to condone same-sex marriages as a matter of policy. Even the ACLU, and I've read the articles that show the ACLU is firmly and 100% in agreement with those on the right that this speech is protected.
It's funny, Mr. Henry, one of the things, this event that's coming up this weekend, but it's a march against Sharia. I just wonder whether the folks who are the so-called liberals and progressives understand what Sharia law would mean for, among other things, women's rights, gay rights, and things like that. Because as I understand it, Sharia law essentially kicks all that stuff to the side, and you end up with the kind of society that most liberal progressives, I would think, would hate.
Certainly. I mean, it's ironic that they consider hate speech calling out other cultures that actually are 180 degrees diametrically opposed to the virtues that they extol. Sharia is the least tolerant of all the iterations of Islam, but yet it's hate speech to call them out on that, but it's not hateful to actually practice the kind of conduct that Sharia entails. Just kind of gives you a quick insight into the mind and the movement that is today's progressives, including those that are coming out of college campuses across, that it's more important to protect Sharia than it is to be tolerant in our own country with respect to the speech that we utter, regardless of what religion it may be. Sharia just happens to be one of the most hateful and intolerant of the religions.
Byron, it's a pleasure as always to have you on. Byron Henry is an attorney. You can find him at solidcounsel.com, and you're listening to the Larson